So let's start by what anatomy we're gonna have as part of our focus. It's not a new place. We're gonna go back to the ramus, the upper and lower ramus today. So I'll remind you where they are. So the upper ramus is going from the top of your pubic bone across. It goes right toward the inner hip joint. So sometimes along this ramus, along this upper branch, you're placing your felt sense at one end or the other end. Okay, and when you release along that space from, say, inner hip, all along to the top of the pubic bone. And then let's just remember that the pubic bone has height to it. There's really a top and a middle and a bottom. So the pubic bone is tall. And that from the bottom of the pubic bone, you might be reaching on this ramus, on this lower branch, all the way toward the sitting bone. And this bottom branch has also some width to it. The sitting bone itself has width. And you might remember that sometimes we even reach from the outer sitting bone to the inner sitting bone. Or sometimes we go from the sitting bone and along this ramus, along this branch to the pubic bone. Now, sometimes what I notice is I'm only going part way. I think I'm putting my attention somewhere, like at the sitting bone, and traveling along the ramus to the pubic bone, but I'm actually only going about, not even halfway. So I just want to invite you to really, when you're going there, to try to go all the way. Anyway, those are the two branches we're going to work. That's part of the pelvis that we're working with. Yeah, and it's a new day. This is a whole new day, right? We forget that this is another day and another familiar but not familiar. And how sometimes we like to hold on to something. Like for me the other day, oh God, I had this really amazing moment and I just wanted to go on and on, right? Because after I received some body work and right towards the end of the session, I really don't know the last time I felt this, but I had this whole sensation through my body where I was just like, oh my gosh, I am so happy to be in this body right now. It was so amazing. I just really felt embodied in my body with joy. Like, wow, that was such an amazing moment. I just wanted to go on and on. But of course, it's a different day. It's just, and things are constantly happening and it's dynamic. But it is a moment that I loved. Just, wow, the presence of my experience at that time. So, I just want to invite you to the part of this whole work we do with our inner anatomy, with really connecting to these places in ourselves is to really become present, to become more present with our own self, our own body, and maybe by doing that, we're even better able to rest into that presence of ourselves. And when we do, maybe I'm really hoping from my perspective that then when I hear someone else telling me something, I'm really hoping I'm better able to find the empathy that they may be looking for. That I'll be able to really hear them, what need is being expressed in that moment. And without, searching in what they're saying to me, but to resting into my own presence. Can I rest into that and really hear them for whatever it is they're expressing? This is one of the things I think that I'm noticing by combining a little more about connecting to my own self, my own anatomy, my own body. Anyway, that's just my current musings. So you might have some, that you are musing, and I love hearing those from you as well. All right. So based on that, we're going to go ahead and take a comfortable seat. You're welcome to close your eyes. To drop into the gift of you, the gift of feeling the support beneath you, the gift of feeling the ground beneath that support. And lengthening your spine up towards the sky, well above the clouds. And in that space between the earth and the sky, drop into your breathing. Close. Close is what we almost always are. Close to happiness, close to one another, close to leaving, close to tears, close to God, close to losing faith, close to being done, close to saying something, or close to success. And even with the greatest sense of satisfaction, close to giving the whole thing up. To consciously become close is a courageous form of unilateral disarmament, a chancing of our arm and our love a willingness to hazard our affections, and an unconscious declaration that we might be equal to the inevitable loss that the vulnerability of being close will bring. Human beings do not find their essence through fulfillment or eventual arrival, but by staying close to the way they like to travel, to the way they hold the conversation between the ground on which they stand and the horizon to which they go. We are, in effect, always close to the ultimate secret, that we are more real in our simple wish to find a way than any destination we could reach. The step between not understanding that and understanding that is as close as we get to happiness. We are always close to the ultimate secret. At the bottom of your next exhale, release any control on your breath. And you might, in sitting right now, you might notice that that space that goes from your sitting bone along the lower ramus to the bottom of your pubic bone. You might not quite feel the bottom of the pubic bone, but you might feel part of that branch. And honoring your presence, bring your hands in front of your heart. We'll chant the sound of Om. We'll sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Take a deep inhale. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. And then with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands. And we're going to come up to standing. Up to standing. All right, so we go back to your mat. And we're going to start with like a breath of joy. All right, so you can just step the feet a little wider, make the knees bent slightly, and just begin turning the torso, letting the arms dangle, breathing in through the nose. And just begin by breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the straw breath through the mouth. So this is a long inhale and a long, slow exhale out the mouth. And then we're going to take this, we're going to add the pushing hands and also the quick exhale out the mouth, like we're blowing out a candle. So whenever you're ready, you can join me. Five, four, three, two, one, and then you slowly let yourself come back. Inhale through the nose and exhaling. All right, let's step the feet together. And let's inhale, lift both arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. And again, inhale, lift both arms. And exhaling back down, and one more time on your own. And then releasing both arms. All right, so finding, taking a chair, or you've got a table or the back of a couch or whatever you've decided, we're going to take the standing Asta Patagustasana. Sometimes it's good to have a couple blocks. Sometimes the height of the chair seat might be the right amount. Sometimes one block on the chair, sometimes two blocks on the chair. Or some of you might have longer hamstrings and you might end up having, you know, a block at the back of the chair. Or you might even have, I mean, it just depends. You might have two blocks, you know, whatever is going to be the right height for you. Let's have you stand on your left leg first. I'm going to stand on my left one as well. So we're going to stand on the left. We're going to do the inner thighs first. So let's take the right leg up to whatever is the right height. I'm going to drop one block because that feels, there we go. That'll be easier. So the standing leg it's not facing straight out and it's not facing straight in. It's kind of got a slight turn. And you might notice also that on the standing leg, it's not directly under me. It's a little bit back. All right. Okay. So let's inhale and reach the left arm up. And then drop your felt sense into your sitting bone on the standing leg. And firming into that sitting bone all the way down to the inner thigh and to the inner foot of the standing leg. And then let's go to the raised leg. And can you go from the raised leg? Can you find the pubic bone, the bottom of the pubic bone on the right? And with your next exhale, you're going to release from the bottom of that pubic bone all the way along that lower ramus, that lower branch, toward your right sitting bone. You might move the right outer sitting bone towards the inner right sitting bone. You'll feel then how the leg comes a little more under you, the raised leg. And then we're going to inhale, come back up. And we'll step down. So the right leg's going to be the standing leg, left leg's going up. You can reach the right arm up. And let's reach from the right sitting bone all the way down the right inner thigh into the right foot on the standing leg. And then placing your felt sense on the raised leg, lower pubic bone, and moving from the bottom of the pubic bone along that lower branch towards your sitting bone. So you're releasing that lower branch, that lower ramus. It comes from the lower pubic bone. It starts to come into the body. You keep traveling along it. You keep going along it. All the way. It takes time till it reaches the sitting bone. It's not a super speedy thing. You're releasing it into your body, along it, from the bottom of the pubic bone, all the way to that sitting bone. What I notice is as I check in with myself, am I really releasing all along that bone? Is that as I do, I feel more length come into the left inner thigh. Okay, and then we're going to inhale, come up. Take the foot down. And now we're going to face the chair. So we'll go back to standing on the left leg. And we'll take, let's take the left foot and just turn it a tiny bit out. So it won't be facing directly to the chair. It's got a slight turn out. We'll shift the weight to the left and we'll put the right foot up on the block. And once again, on the standing leg side, can you firmly reach all the way from that, from the sitting bone, especially the outer sitting bone on the left, to the standing leg foot. Let's inhale, lift both arms. And this time on the raised leg, can you come into the inner right hip joint? And can you travel from the inner right hip along that upper branch all the way to the top of the pubic bone? You go down the pubic bone and travel from the bottom of the pubic bone to the right sitting bone. You can release the arms. You could just bring them to your leg, the raised leg. Okay, and then we'll take the right foot, bring it down, and it'll become the standing leg. So the right foot will have a little turn out. Left leg comes up now. Let's inhale. Let's go ahead and lift both arms. Reaching from the right sitting bone down to the right inner thigh, all the way into the right foot. And then placing the felt sense at the left inner hip. Where's your left inner hip? From the left inner hip, can you travel along that left upper branch of the ramus to the top of your pubic bone? When you do, you would feel the leg kind of set more into the body. You can bring the arms down to the raised leg. So we went from the inner hip all the way along that branch to the top of the pubic bone. And that might be plenty right there. You might not need to go any further. Some of you might have a little more length. You could travel from the bottom of the pubic bone towards the left sitting bone. The hands might come down the leg for some of you, to the block or whatever. Not for everyone. All right, and then we're going to step down. If you have a block at the back of the chair, you want to take it off the chair because you don't want it to go crashing. And if your chair is close to a wall, for example, we're going to take downward dog with the seat of the chair. Or you could have your hands up on a countertop or somewhere else. And here, let's travel in your body. Let's go from the bottom of the pubic bone along that lower branch all the way to the sitting bones. And can you feel the sitting bones broaden? All right, and then we'll walk towards the seat of the chair. We can move the chair out of the way, move it off to the side, whatever. And we're going to come back to our mat, and we're going to take a goddess. So we're going to turn the feet out slightly. I'm going to make sure my heels are lined up. My toes are like a 45-degree angle. Here we go. We'll see if opening the inner thighs made it any easier here. Let's inhale, take the arms out. Exhale, bend both knees. So here, can you find the sit bones? The inner sitting bones, can you travel along that lower ramus towards the bottom of the pubic bone? Inhale, take the arms forward, clasp them. Let's draw the hands with the breath toward you. Push them away. Still reaching the sit bone to the lower pubic bone. Inhale, lift the arms. Now I might go I might go up the pubic bone towards the inner hip. Inhale, straighten both legs, release the arms. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, bend both knees. Inhale, bring the hands toward you, change your clasp. Sitting bone towards bottom of the pubic bone. Inhale, bring the hands towards you. Exhale, push them away. Inhale, lift the arms. Now I might be going from bottom of the pubic bone to the top of the pubic bone. And then the inhale, let's straighten the legs. Release both arms. Let's step the feet back together. Let's inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times on your own. All right, and then we're going to take triangle pose. So grabbing your blocks, we'll go to your right first. So your right foot's going to turn out. I'm going to mirror you now. So a block or 2 at the right outer shin. Let's inhale the arms wide and exhale, come to triangle. Can you go on the front leg? Let's go from the inner hip of the front leg toward, and you can always have this hand down if you want to, toward the top of the pubic bone on the front leg. And then on the back leg, from your left sit bone, along that ramus, along that branch to the bottom of the pubic bone. Into the breath. Looking to be embodied in your body. Inhale, come up. And then we'll take the second side. So turning the feet, moving the prop, going to the second side, left foot out, right foot in. And when you're ready, inhale, take the arms wide. And exhaling to triangle. So in your triangle pose, on this second side, let's go from the left pubic bone along the branch towards the inner sitting bone. So when you do that, you feel probably the pelvis turns a little more towards the ground. And then you go to the back leg, you go to the pubic bone, the bottom of the right pubic bone, the back leg, and then reach that all the way towards the sitting bone. So then you'll feel yourself turning a little more open to the sky. On the front leg, when you went from pubic bone along the ramus to the sitting bone, can you feel how that solidifies also your reach down the inner thigh of the front leg, all the way to the front foot? And then we'll inhale, come up. We'll turn the feet forward. Let's step the feet together. Let's turn and face towards the top of your mat. come to the top. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling to plank pose. Remembering taking the full length of the breath to travel to your plank pose. And your exhale, traveling back, downward facing dog. And again, we've been working on how steady are we in the transition from dog to plank. And also when you go from plank back to downward facing dog. Traveling slowly, noticing if it's steady through the arms, that you're not wobbling from right to left in the shoulders, that you're staying steady. Just a couple more. Nice and slow. Okay. And then the next time you come back to downward facing dog, we're going to lower both knees to the ground. And we're going to roll over and lay on your back. So lying on your back, we've been doing this work with the transversus abdominis. We've been working to connect to that part of our body that is like the, it's the internal corset. It holds the tone, it holds the abdominal organs in. So let's go ahead, find an inhale. With the exhale, let's pick up the heels. And right there, can you tone from the back body and wrap all the way around to the midline of the front body? The breath has to be up in the rib cage because the belly is toned. With your next exhale, float the feet from the ground. Inhale, lift the lower legs up. Exhale, relax the shins. Exhale, the toes, the heels, and rest. So if you're wondering, am I finding the transversus? You can always take your fingers. You find the ASIS, right? Those two hip bones. And if you drop just inside the hip bones, just an inch or so, and just you go off those hip bones. You could even go down a tad, an inch in, an inch down. And then exhale, pick up the heels. Do you feel some tone right there under the fingers? Because that's your transversus right there. Yay! All right, so you feel that tone. There you go. And then let's relax the heels back down. Let's take the hands. Let's put them behind the head, elbows toward each other. I like adding the head because it reminds you to slide the rib cage down. So we're taking an inhale. This inhale can be in the belly. You can feel the breath there. And then with the exhale, you're lifting the heels, gauging that transversus, picking up your head so the lower front ribs slide down. Inhale in the rib cage. Exhale the feet and maybe the shins. Rest the head in the hands. Exhale, toe tap. And you're just alternating right and left. Lower front ribs have come down towards the navel. If you don't want to hold the head, you don't have to, but it just sometimes helps. All right. And then you're going to lower the head if you've got it lifted. Lower the feet, the heels. Let go of the head and rest for a moment. Walk the feet out wider. Let the knees rest against each other and take the arms overhead, palms toward the sky. Awesome. Okay. And then we're going to roll over to one side. Use your arms. Press yourself up. And we're going to come back up to standing. Back up to standing. Got our blocks. And we're going to take Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. All right, Ardha Chandrasana. Now, if you want to use the wall for the ball of the raised leg, you're welcome to do that. So in other words, you'll want to figure out your distance from the wall or whatever you're using. So you can measure that first. Make sure that when you pick up your leg, you can't quite touch it to begin with. That touching it is going to come from when you lengthen back. Okay, so give yourself enough space. Half moon. And then we'll face our blocks. This time, I'm going to have you stand on your right leg first. Okay, I'm going to stand, and we can start in Tadasana if you like, because again, we're going to use the midline of the body, the tone of transversus abdominis to also help here. So standing on the right leg, and just take the left toes back and find the breath. On an exhale, lift the back leg. And you come down, half moon. So from the on the standing leg, go from the outer sit bone to the inner sit bone. And then from that sitting bone, reach all the way down the inner thigh to the standing foot. From the core of the pelvis, reach into the raised leg. So, and on the raised leg, you could go from inner hip to pubic bone. To come out You'll bend the front knee. You start to turn a little towards the ground and then begin to stand up. Second side. If you're going from Tadasana, you're to stand on your left leg. So you're going to take the right foot back a little. Inhaling, and when you're ready, pick up the back leg and begin to lower yourself down. Go from the outer standing leg sitting bone to the inner standing leg sitting bone. So you're really shifting right there. So the standing leg is firm from that sitting bone all the way into the standing leg foot. And then if you remember where the core of the pelvis is, where the center of the pelvis is, reach from the center of the pelvis all the way back, all the way, reach, reach, reach into that back leg. Great. Yes, nice. When you're ready to come out, you begin to bend the front leg. The torso turns a little, and then you come to standing. Go. There you go, Ellie. Yeah. Yay. Yes. With practice, you get it. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, bring the hands down in front of your heart. Again, inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, lift both arms. This time you're going to bow forward all the way down. You'll inhale halfway. And exhale, we're coming to the ground. You're going to bring the knees down. We're going to take a forearm plank. So you're going to take, if you're doing forearm plank, you're going to take the blocks on kind of an angle. I have them on the medium setting. And I'm going to put my forearms on the blocks. My hands are off the blocks. And we'll step the right leg back and the left leg back. So Michael, I don't know, you might want to not do this one for your shoulders today, okay? The rest of us might be doing it. We're going to find transverses. We're lifting up out of the shoulder joint. I didn't forget Friday was strength day. And then we're going to bring the knees down. Let's walk the hands back. We can leave our blocks up there. Let's take one of your blankets. And we're going to fold it into a square for Patagustasana. Patagustasana 2, I think. Okay. When I fold this, I usually make it into, I know these dark blankets, kind of hard to see, isn't it? I make it into a square, and I'm going to sit on the point of that square. So I'm going to put the point on my mat. And let's sit with if it's all right, you'll have the left leg in Virasana, and the right foot is Padmasana. So if this is okay with the knee, the left leg will be in Virasana. And then we're going to take left hand to the outer right thigh, your right hand behind you, and let's go from the top of the right pubic bone to the inner hip. Top of the right pubic bone to the inner hip. The inner left hip goes toward the pubic bone. And then we'll come back. We'll take the other side. You're always welcome to ask questions too. It's fine. If there's something. Hi, Diego. All right. So now you might have the right leg could be in Virasana, or you could, if that doesn't work, you can have the right leg straight. Left hand behind, right hand across. Turning toward the left, turning towards the left. You can go from the right sitting bone all the way to the pubic bone. I mean, left sitting bone, sorry. Left sitting bone all the way towards the pubic bone to the inner left hip. And then we'll release. Come back to center. Okay, so we come out of that, we can come off of that, and some of you go ahead and take downward facing dog. Some of you could take puppy pose. We're just doing a symmetrical pose and opening the backs of the knees. So if you're not taking downward facing dog, you could take Tadasana. If you're in downward facing dog, again, you're releasing from the bottom of the pubic bone all the way along the bottom ramus, that bottom branch, to the sitting bones. All right, and then we're going to bring the knees down. Okay, so now let's take a restorative right now. And that restorative, I'm going to show one using my chair. So I've got my chair set up, and I could take 3 blankets folded in half lengthwise is one option. I like having like 4 blankets. And I'm going to tilt the camera down. If I have a bolster, I'm going to use the bolster. Let me just tilt this down a little bit. Okay, so right there's 3 blankets folded in half lengthwise. And a 4th blanket folded in half lengthwise is in front of that. Now I could use, because some of you have a bolster, I could use 2 blankets and a bolster, something like that. Then what am I going to do? My pelvis is going to be up on my stack. I'm going to be, maybe I'm a tiny bit too close to my chair here. Back myself up a little. All right, so I could sit on the edge of my 3 blankets. Pelvis is going to be up there. Shoulders are on this blanket on the ground. Legs are going to be resting in Patagustasana. My shoulders are on this blanket. My head is on the ground. Let's see, what other options can I give you? If If this is not, if you don't have a chair, if you don't have a setup like this, I'll also give you another option. I'll give you this option. So that's one option there. Or some of you might like the one we did the other day, where we took a blanket from the long edge, rolled it. Let's see if that gets it right. And then we had two blankets folded kind of in a square. One of them was coming up to meet the rolled blanket, and one of them was a little ways away to go under the head. So there's a ditch in the middle there. Don't need my chair. I could have something for under my knees on this one. So that the blanket is under the upper back. The shoulders are in between the two and the head. So this is your other option. If you have a question about either of those setups, please let me know. Go ahead, Lise. Yeah.
Where's the rolled up blanket hitting on your body?
On that one where I'm lying all the way out, it is under my upper back, so that when my arms come out, my arms are coming kind of straight out, and the rolled blanket's below that. So let me see. Where's the rolled blanket?
It was rolled.
Oh, so that one actually goes under your upper back. Upper back. No, the rolled one. So you're missing the red one. Yes, yes. Scoot it right up against that other one, Lise. Make it closer to that. There you go. Then you lie back, your arms there, that's better. And then take the arms out so that the back of the wrists find the ground. They won't be floating. There you go. And then the legs can either be straight or knees bent. Does that feel okay? You might take the blanket under the head right up to meet the tops of your shoulders. So now here you are in whatever pose you have chosen. And let's drop your awareness into your breathing and into the pelvic floor. And let's see. And does that feel okay with that under your upper back like that? Because I actually had it under the pelvis, not under the upper back when the legs are up. Yeah, you would want that thing under your pelvis. There you go. With your legs in that elevated Patagustasana. And that looks a little better. Yeah. I like that, Al. I like the blocks and the blanket. You might just scoot it a little closer towards your low back, just a little bit closer. That way your pelvis, your tail, there you go, might have a chance to drop down the other side. So with your awareness in the pelvic floor now, can you notice the space between the pubic bone and the tailbone? And on the inhale, can you feel the space between the pubic bone and the tailbone lengthening on the inhale? On the inhale, that space, it goes from the perineum and out along the fibers toward the pubic bone and toward the tailbone. And on the exhale, if we were to draw a line between the two sitting bones, the inner sitting bones, can you notice that on the exhale, the space between the two inner sitting bones broadens? So on the inhale, the fibers lengthening between the pubic bone and the tailbone. And on the exhale, the fibers are widening from the perineum to both inner sitting bones. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, you're releasing the breath. And if you're lying on the ground, you'll go ahead and bend both knees and roll over to one side. And if the legs are up on your little stack, you're gonna lift the back of the head and go toward your head. Move the pelvis off your stack towards your head. And then once you're off of that, you'll roll down to one side and use the arms to press yourself up. Now, let's just take, we're going to do a seated pranayama now. So we just did a reclined pranayama. We're going to do a seated pranayama before Shavasana. So think about what your Shavasana is going to look like. For example, I thought, well, I'm going to take 2 blankets out like a little patio. Some of you might be happy with a chair. Some of you might just want to lay on the floor. And then make yourself a comfortable seat. Whatever that is, however high you need your pelvis, bring it up so that you won't be distracted by some other tension in the body. So give yourself a comfortable seat. And you're just simply dropping into your breath to begin. It doesn't need to be ujjayi. You do not have to practice ujjayi. Relax your shoulders. But we're going to go into box breathing. So in box breathing, if at the bottom of your next exhale, just a soft exhale, inhale for a count of 5. Hold for 5. You'll exhale for a count of 5. Hold the exhale out for 5. And keep going. And it doesn't have to be 5. It could be whatever number is the right number for you. It could be 4, it could be 6. Whatever is the right ratio, a 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 ratio. With your next exhale, you can release any control on your breath. You're welcome to bring yourself to Shavasana, or if you want to stay seated in meditation, you're welcome to do that. Whatever feels right. Shavasana has some very important nourishment as well. Close is what we almost always are. Close to happiness, close to one another, close to leaving, close to tears, close to God, close to losing faith, close to being done, close to saying something, or close to success. And even with the greatest sense of satisfaction, close to giving the whole thing up. Human beings do not find their essence through fulfillment or eventual arrival, but by staying close to the way they like to travel, to the way they hold the conversation between the ground on which they stand and the horizon to which they go. We are, in effect, always close. Always close to the ultimate secret that we are more real in our simple wish to find a way than any destination we could reach. The step between not understanding that and understanding that is as close as we get to happiness. Enjoy the deepening of your breath. and making a mindful transition to one side. Using the arms to make your way back to sitting. He says, we are more real in our simple wish to find a way than any destination we could reach. Join your hands in front of your heart. It's honoring your journey. And to this journey that we all get to take together. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your